Let's start with Ukraine. Sean, I watched some of the Sunday shows. I normally don't, but I was at the gym, so I did, flipping around. And Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, who 3 years ago staunchly condemned Putin's invasion, joined many Trump administration officials in refusing to say that Putin invaded Ukraine and the war is his fault. Some have said President Trump won't say it because he's mad at Zelensky, but why is it that Mark Wayne Mullen and other Republicans will not say, for the historical record, that Putin invaded Ukraine?
I can't say that I speak for everyone. I mean, I know Congressman Lawler was on some shows or on ABC this week. He said it. So I wouldn't say that it's a universal Republican thing. I'm going to guess that someone like Mark Wayne Mullen, who's very close to President Trump, just doesn't want to get in the way of that negotiation, because all that's going to happen is comments like that will be used by the left-wing media to sort of try to create space between the two. And right now, I think a lot of them have recognized that Trump's in the middle of trying to put an end to this war. And the last thing they need to do is do something that'll drive a wedge between his supporters and himself. That would be my guess.
But let me just stay with you for a minute. What does it matter if that wedge is driven? Like, for
I
whatever
don't, well,
reason,
first of all, I agree with you, because my guess is that in the last 4 years, Mark Wayne Mullen's been asked that question and answered it. And so I'm going to
yeah,
guess that there's a enterprising young journalist who will be
yeah.
given something from the DNC today claiming that it's a scoop and then put it out there. But I don't, to me, this is not one of those things where I find it divisive. I mean, it happened on Joe Biden's watch. In fact, so I would actually point to it and say, yeah, Russia invaded them. Reason they did it is because of his feckless leadership, the Afghanistan withdrawal, and I would pin it on Biden. So I don't know. I find it kind of intriguing myself, because this to me isn't a Trump issue. Biden, it was under Biden's watch. It was under his lackless leadership that it occurred. So I would put it on Biden's lap, and without a problem. So to be honest with you, I can't answer that question. I don't agree that it's universal, though. I think you're seeing
I
plenty
didn't
of.
say it was. I didn't say it was universal. I just said lots of them won't, including members of the cabinet, including
Well, the cabinet's understandable, right? I mean, because you got to make sure that you're not. I mean, he's your boss, and you're not
yeah.
doing. Rubio, I think, handled it really well when asked, because he described some issues, and I think you touched on this. But like, Zelensky has done very little good helping that relationship. And the other day when he came out talking about that they can't find half of the funding, like, it's just, he's made a horrible mess of this situation.
Dan, what's going on here?
The same reason they can't say Joe Biden won in 2020. I mean, it's the kind
Oh,
of
that's
alternative.
different.
It's not. It's the alternative facts of whatever suits the narrative. And I think in this instance, Trump wants a deal. Trump knows that the best way to get the deal is kind of pounding Zelensky and making him cave, because it's much harder to get Russia to cave. They're much more strategic. They're much more canny. And so if you say Russia invaded Ukraine, Russia started the war, Russia is responsible for the war, then your natural instinct is to say, okay, we have to prevent this from happening again. What are they kind of giving as part of the deal? And he doesn't want to have that conversation. So instead, you just kind of say, hey, we're not going to talk about who started this or how we got here. We just want a deal. And so I think it's just creating an alternate kind of reality to suit the needs of the end game he wants.
I agree with you. Either of you want to say anything else about Ukraine? Any other points you want to make?
I mean, I thought it was fascinating that on Friday night and Saturday, the administration kind of tried to almost create momentum to a deal by saying, oh, we're really close on the minerals. Like, we're going to get there. This is going to happen. And it really appears that that Zelensky is willing to do it if the U.S. is willing to put in writing security guarantees. This goes back to the other day when I said to you, Mark, if Trump would just say it, I'd feel a lot better. It appears that the U.S. does not want to put anything in writing. We do not want to make any guarantees. So that's an interesting thing, right? Because then if you're Zelensky, why are you signing this over?
Sean.
I do think, I mean, first of all, on the rare earth minerals, I got to tell you, as an American taxpayer, we tried to do this a little in Iraq and never actually fully executed on it. But the idea that we're actually getting something out of this, I know there's always this discussion about direct assistance versus loans, what have you. But, for us, I actually think that having a president that's saying we get something back and we're not just giving up is actually a breath of fresh air.
Can I ask a question of ignorance? You'll both tell me I'm stupid. I read a lot about Ukraine, talk to a lot of people about it. It seems like if these rare earth minerals are so valuable, why didn't any of the following come up? Why wasn't Ukraine a rich country? Why didn't before the war, why didn't we worry that Putin would seize the minerals? And why is it just now coming up as a form of repayment? I've never heard of this.
I think
What did I miss?
I would say good questions. I think that's part of it, in terms of why we didn't before. I think it's, well, because 4 years of Biden, I don't think you're going to ever hear that. But I also think,
Okay, but why? But go to the first question. If these things are so valuable, why weren't the
I
Ukrainians?
think that might go to why Putin was trying to take over Ukraine and get it back.
Well, but I didn't hear anything about that. I didn't hear when he
Oh,
invaded.
I think it's because Trump wants, look, he has always said this, right? Which is, but he's always been a big part of, if we do something for you, what
I understand. But if the minerals are
Why
real,
didn't we hear about it?
if the minerals
Right,
are real, if the
what I was
minerals
gonna say is
are
they're
real,
not. There isn't a huge deposit of, like,
well,
it's
okay,
not a real thing.
That could be
Well,
could
then
be
if
the
it wasn't a
answer,
real
but then
thing, then why
somebody
would
should
you
be
care?
exposing that now. If it's not a real thing, should be saying, why are we fighting with Ukraine about something that's bullshit? And why is Zelensky, if they're not real, why is Zelensky resisting? He should just give them over.
Look, they're real in that there are minerals there. It is going to be part of their tax base going forward. And so they don't have much of an industrial base right now that's left in there's farming and agriculture. But I think from his standpoint, it's like, look, we are going to have to rebuild our country. So we need some form of revenue to, just like the Germans did, the Japanese did, the Europeans do. So, I mean, it's not that it's nothing, but it's not the end all be all that we're making it out to be. I just think Trump wants something to say to the American people. I got something for us.